Welcome back to the Talking Hedge. I'm Josh Kincaid, Capital Markets Analyst and host of your Cannabis Business Podcast. Back with us is Rohit Srivastava, Chief Investment Officer and Portfolio Manager with Saroj and Bhanu Fund, to talk about the AI-based algorithm, predictive analytics, technical analysis, looking at the bloodbath of the market. Hopefully we did well, but in the end, this is just for entertainment purposes only, right?
Well, thanks, Josh, for having me again on a very tough day here today, but our analysis is up until yesterday. But giving you, all our viewers, a disclaimer that this is all for entertainment, this is all for learning. We're not giving any financial advice. This is all for learning for you, okay? We're going to talk about the cannabis index, the index which is very similar to Wix, where it just gives you the idea about how the overall cannabis market is doing, has nothing to do with investing into this particular index. And the cannabis index is basically, this is from the inception. This is where we were last week, and this is where we are this week, testing the 390. So we had like a huge crash this week. And to elaborate a little bit more, we can look at the cash flow, and the cash flow doesn't look that bad, and it doesn't look that bad in the sense that it is still looks like investors are coming in and buying stuff, and a lot of sell happened in the last 1 week. And I was just doing the reports of that, and MJ and POTX, they both actually lost almost 18 to 20% just this week. So
how much? Say that again.
18 to 20% this week.
Wow.
Yeah, so they have been hit pretty bad on all of these. So, well, the good thing is that, we were holding these four stocks, and the signal were around 3.5 and 3.6 that it sold. We did take some hit on some of them, but it was not that bad. Like we always talk about this, the AI part is to understand that when it is like last week, we were almost 4% up on all of them, and then we took some hit, and basically we're actually not technically down, but we're down on a couple of stocks. But the idea is that, whenever it takes a hit and we realize that there is a huge loss, probability of high loss, that's when you gotta just bail out and call it a day. So that's what it did. It did not have any buys today, but I did get a lot of signal today that there are a lot of buys. So probably in the next week, when you see that, you will see some of the buys that might have happened.
Because didn't Aurora just trade for 90 cents? They have a 4-year low trading at under $1. They're essentially a penny stock. Yeah. So I would imagine that if that's not a buying opportunity, then maybe they're just going to go out of business.
Well, I feel a lot of companies are going to go out of business if they in general in the industry. But I think there is a buying opportunity there, and in the next week when you see the report for today, I think you will see that there are substantial buys in there. The overall investable AI cannabis index, previously we talked about non-investable, it was just a scale. This is actually the investable, which basically takes these trades and buys and sells, and based on weightage of each company, how much it can invest. It does that. And at this point, this week, we had 0.01% loss. So in a way, last week we were about 38.75, and performance was 4.09, but now we are at 0.10, and here we are at 4.01. And last week, the returns from year to date of both of these, MJ and POTX, were about 20 and 18%. And this week, they really were beaten up pretty bad. So like year to date, the POTX is about 56% down, and MJ is about 41% down. So I can fathom to understand that how terrible these stocks are doing, but a good part is that our MJ, our cannabis index is substantially stable. It doesn't buys and sells based on the fundamentals, but based on the data. So that's a good part of that. Summarizing, 475 support, broke that, and it's basically 390. We have to wait and see what it does at 390. We sold most of our holdings, ABBV, MO, CGC, and ZYNE. And let's see how it goes next week. I want to just give like an overall market idea that, so this is POTX. You can see that in the start of the year, it was about $15, and today it's sitting at $9. But our analysis was based on yesterday, which was $5.98. So it has beaten up pretty bad on that. But overall, I think in the next couple of days, we might see some action of buying, and mostly because the market has reached the bearish signal, and it is at the point where it should be bouncing back, at least not for long term, but even for short term, it should be bouncing back. And that's where I think that's where we probably have opportunities, and that's where probably most of the AI-based system is going to trigger in and try to buy a bunch of stuff. So let's see how the next couple of days go. But then I'm anticipating. I mean, I saw a couple of buys happening this week, but I am anticipating that there will be some buys, or there will be a little bit of rally, maybe 1,000, 2,000 points, or Dow Jones in general, which will probably overall bump up the whole market. Overall, anyways, coming back to our index, this is where we are, and hopefully next week we will have even better news for everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure that it's going to be all that great. I mean, opportunity-wise, sure, but
Yes.
When a 12% or when a 12-cent drop equates to 12%, I mean, it's worth $1. Aurora is what I'm talking about. So 86 cents is what it closed at today. That's a 4-year low. That's pretty insane. But volatility can equate to opportunity if done right. So I'm actually kind of excited to see what happens. The fact that we were flat this week, I'm a little surprised that we didn't have a little bit of a pop, a little bit of opportunity. But again, maybe it's just too risky. So even more opportunities next week, I think.
Yeah. And the market, from the point of signal, it has been on risk from 19. It had a buying opportunity at 3.4, but it again became negative on 3.6.
So as I've mentioned before, nothing is sacred. They're all losing, percentage and market cap. Everything is going down, and that is systemic risk. Nothing is going to escape that. As margin calls happen, people are getting liquidated. That's driving the share price down even farther. That's essentially just a snowball effect. So as we said before, with the market, everything is going to be going down initially, and there is not going to be any saviors. They're all going to lose because what's happening in the market is with a lot of margin calls, there is no savior. So all of these market caps are getting hammered. All of these stock prices are being depressed until there can be a bottom. So until margin calls are over with, we're not going to see any sector escape this carnage. But sin stocks will outperform in the long run eventually. So whether that's defensive stocks, cannabis, alcohol, or tobacco, during times of economic recession, those always have an inverse relationship. So I do expect that our index and the cannabis industry as a whole will do better over time. But you're going to have to come back to the Talking Hedge and find out. So with that, we're going to roll this one up. I'm Josh Kincaid. I want to thank my guest, Rohit Srivastava, Chief Investment Officer and Portfolio Manager with Saroj and Bhanu Fund. Thanks again. I am Josh Kincaid. This is the Talking Hedge. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, or don't. And I'm out.